Ladies and gentlemen, happy Sunday. It is June 30th. I'm Matt Coates, next to Mike Maynard for another edition of Parking Lot Preview. We're here for another Barnstable rivalry game as the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, sporting an 8-4-1 record, take on the visiting Cotuit Kettleers with a 9-4 record. And Mike, the day before all Cape Cod Baseball League players go to Fenway Park for a pro league tryout, the stakes couldn't be any higher. With a win tonight for the Harbor Hawks, obviously that would mean a Cotuit loss, and a Wareham loss in their game, we can see ourselves right back in first place.
It's been a long time. Not a long time, but
Mhm.
been a few days, and I think definitely no one would be complaining over there at that field right now if that were the case. So big game tonight. You mentioned Fenway Day tomorrow. It should be fun. All the
Yes.
players get to showcase their skills in front of a bunch of MLB scouts in an MLB stadium. Once in a lifetime experience for a lot of those guys. So it should be really fun. Should be motivating for these guys to hopefully produce today, and then hopefully produce tomorrow in that workout as well. But like you said, Battle of Barnstable tonight, big game. Hopefully a Hyannis win.
Exactly. It would be great to be able to go from third place to first place just like that in the blink of an eye. We can only hope for that. The players hopefully will go out and get that for us. But if it's any indication how we've been playing in the past, I would not be shocked if we pulled out a victory tonight. Last night, Harbor Hawks won their third straight game. It was in a big 12-7 victory against the Brewster Whitecaps on the road. And that victory, Mike, was presented by two Hyannis newcomers. Jackson West, catcher out of Florida State, 4 for 5, 4 RBIs. Excellent night for him. And then Blake Cavill, the Aussie out of Western Kentucky, had a home run in his first at bat. Really welcomed himself not to the Cape Cod Baseball League. He was actually on Falmouth earlier in the year. Had a hot start. Was hitting 300. Still, they released him, and we were say, hey, we'll happily take him. And we saw why last night. Big display of power, something that this Harbor Hawks team is looking for.
Big game last night for both of those guys. Mitch Carricker seemed to be ecstatic to have both those guys come in and have such a great start to their Hyannis Harbor Hawks careers. But the pitching was another thing that really stood out last night. Gave up 5 runs early on, 5-1 down to the Whitecaps last night, then score 11 runs unanswered. The pitching staff really shut things down for the majority of the middle of that game. 2 runs there in the end of the game, but didn't prove to be anything too much to handle, and it proved to help take home the win. So the pitching staff again, a lot of success. And then you mentioned those 2 new guys, and then the rest of the guys still had a good game as well. John Gazdar, your pick for last night's player of the game, had a pretty solid game himself. So the guys have been on a tear lately, 3 wins in a row now, and that's the only reason that we're looking at this capability of making it to first place tonight. But again, it's a good Cotuit team coming in here tonight. But 3 wins in a row, can't really complain. It's similar to that start at the beginning of the season that we saw for Hyannis. 4 wins in a row to start. Hopefully it can be 4 again this time, starting with this game here against Cotuit.
For sure. I personally was super excited to see Jackson West's big game last night. He's a Florida State boy, and those of you who were watching us last year knew Florida State guys do great in these Hyannis colors. Cam Smith last year won Pro Prospect of the Year award. And then Jamie Arnold propelled a great Cape summer into an even better spring at Florida State University. With that being said, Mike, Cotuit is not going to make it an easy game for us. Over their last 10, 8-2 record. These guys are hot. I think this might be a matchup of the 2 hottest teams in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Harbor Hawks started this 3-game win streak by taking down the Wareham Gatemen, who at the time, 6-game win streak. And then last night, Cotuit beats Wareham so they can get that edge for first place in the division. A lot of moving parts going on in the West. West, highly competitive, especially with these 3 teams at the top. Hopefully we can go out there and get done. Talk about Cotuit's game last night and how they're doing so well.
Yeah, you mentioned it last night, beating Wareham, who was in first place at the start of last night's games. Beat them in a close 4-2 game. Battle of the 2 top teams in the West at the time. Second baseman Jared Advincula, hopefully I'm saying that right, had 2 hits, 2 runs, and the only RBI for his squad in the affair. So big game for him. The rest of the Cotuit Kettleers really, held through a tough game and showed that they're able to battle those grinds out. And we saw a game against Cotuit from Hyannis' perspective. That was also a little bit of a grind. Cotuit ended up coming away with that one. So hopefully a lot more runs can go on the board tonight for the blue and orange, and it won't be such a close game. But we've seen that Cotuit can battle through these tight games and also can stack wins in a row, which we've seen, as you just mentioned, last 10 games, 8 wins. So Cotuit's hot. Hyannis is hot. It's going to be a good game. They're coming off a good one. We're coming off a good one. Should be a good contest.
Yeah, Mike, it's interesting as we look at the weather tonight, as you guys can tell, not really what you'd call baseball conditions. It's very windy here, and there is rain in the forecast. That's important because last time we traveled to Lowell Park to play the Cotuit Kettleers, we did not make it through a full 9 innings. Obviously, Cotuit Stadium does not have lights. The game starts early. However, things happen. It got dark. We couldn't finish that game. Unfortunately, led to a Harbor Hawk loss. Tonight, with rain in the forecast, this might be a race through the first 5 innings, Mike.
It really might be, and we've seen that Hyannis needs to get off those early starts. 2 games now that have been called early, both losses for Hyannis, so it's going to be key for them to get out early, good pitching, good hitting, to get off to an early lead, and if the game ends up getting called early, that way you have the lead at that time. Being a home team does matter here, too. You get that bottom of the 5th inning at least to put some runs on the board, so that'll play a factor as well. Both games that have been canceled were away, so this will be the first game tonight that we think could get canceled. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get a full 9 in, knock on wood, but if that were the case, it's going to be key for them to get out to an early lead and hopefully, get the runs on the board before the rain comes.
Certainly. And we're about to talk about 2 guys who don't want us to get off to a hot start. They want to keep the runs at a minimum. I'll start with our guy in the mound, Mike. And that's a name you guys should know at this point in the season. That's Ryan Dromboski. Excellent pitcher out of the University of Pennsylvania. Read his stats too again this past season. 63 innings pitched, 7.5 ERA with 71 strikeouts and only 28 walks. Honorable mention, Ivy League pitcher past season. Year before that, though, Ivy League pitcher of the year. Mike, talking about his Cape stats, though, so far.
Yeah, so far a 1.23 ERA on Cape, over 7 1/3 innings pitched, which unbelievable start for him. 7 strikeouts, 4 walks over that time, and in his most recent appearance, 3 2/3, 3 Ks, 4 hits, 3 walks, and only 1 earned run. Now his first start gave up a good amount of hits there, but worked through it, keeps runs off the board. That's really all you can ask for. I remember last time we were on this show talking about Ryan Dromboski, we were saying as long as he can keep the runs off the board, allow as many base runners as you want. Keep him to a minimum. Obviously, you'd prefer to not be pitching out of the stretch and pitching in those tough situations, but he's able to work out of any jams that he puts himself in, and has had a lot of success so far to start the year.
For sure. We mentioned it before, Mike, and you just mentioned it. Dromboski has allowed a few base runners, a few hits here, a few walks there. For the 1.23 ERA, tells you all you need to know. He gets it done when it really matters. Hopefully we can see more of that tonight. Put as many guys on the base paths as you want, Ryan. Let's get them out before they cross home plate.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure he's not loving that.
No.
But it's the ERA that really, at the end of the game, you're looking at how many runs the pitcher gave up. That's really the main thing that matters, and he's been good at limiting that. And he's been a great personality around the clubhouse. Obviously, all the guys love him. He loves getting interviews. We both interviewed him, and he's a great interview. Loves talking to everybody. I remember doing the pie eating contest a few days ago. I heard him screaming out of the dugout. Made sure I could hear his voice.
You're a biggest fan.
Yeah, that was something. So, love the guy. He's having a great summer so far on Cape, and hopefully he can continue that tonight.
Yeah, hopefully you guys were able to catch it a few games ago. I actually got to interview him during the broadcast, during Joseph Jurwa's last start. Joseph Jurwa was a host brother of Ryan Dromboski so far this season. Got to talk about their relationship. Great interview, great personality, and you see that when he's on the mound, he plays with a passion. But Mike, on the other side of the bump, Cotuit Kettleers starter, that's James Ellwanger. He's from Dallas Baptist University. Same school where Michael Detallo goes. Tell us a little bit about James.
Yeah, 6'5" right-handed pitcher out of DBU, as you mentioned. 17.2 innings pitched, 6.11 ERA, 23 strikeouts, and 11 walks as a freshman. So a young guy with not a lot of experience. He was a 19th round pick, though, for the Washington Nationals in the 2023 MLB draft. But in two appearances out of the pen on the Cape, a 0 ERA. 0. You heard that right. 5 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, only 1 walk. So he's had a lot of success on Cape to start. Only out of the bullpen so far, getting the start tonight. We'll see if that creates any hiccups in his game. Maybe it's something different that he hasn't seen. We aren't sure. Not a lot of experience, though. A young guy, only 17 innings pitched, as I mentioned, at college, and only a few here, 5 so far to start the summer. So we'll see if he's able to continue his success. But the Washington Nationals thought he was good enough to warrant a selection. And obviously the Cotuit Kettleers think he was worth a roster spot. So he's earned his way on Cape, and he's really been super successful in 5 innings so far, not allowing a single earned run. So it's going to be a tough matchup. These Hyannis bats are going to have to get going. We saw 12 runs last night. Hopefully they can have a similar performance in this one.
Yeah, Mike, it's very interesting to see and very impressive to see that 0.0 ERA on Cape for a guy who was a freshman last year and only pitched just over 17 innings in college. Like you mentioned, there's a reason he was selected in that MLB draft out of high school. Very talented individual. Showed that in college in his limited experience, and is showing that so far on the Cape. So it'll be very interesting to see the young gun go out tonight on the bump in McKean Park. Hopefully, for our sake, selfishly, he doesn't show his best stuff tonight.
I 100% agree. The pitching is going to be the key to this game. Whoever comes out early with their stuff working is really going to have a good game tonight.
with that being said, Mike, we're going to bring it on over the final segment of the day. You guys should know what that is. It's our player of the game picks. Mike, I'm going to throw it on over to you. Give me your pick.
You know, we talked before the show about who I was going to pick. I'm going to actually pivot from that. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go to a guy, Eric Snow. Had a lot of success leading the team in batting average, I believe, still. Has had a lot of success at the plate and played good defense as well. Transferring to Auburn, ever since we got that news, he's really been on a tear. He wants to show his new club that he's worth a roster spot for them. He's had a lot of success. We didn't see him in the lineup last night, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Was not playing last night.
Got the night off, and he'll be back tonight, according to my thoughts. Hopefully he's back in the lineup tonight. It's hard with this Hyannis lineup. A lot of guys in rotation, in and out. A lot of guys having success, but I think Eric Snow's in for another big game tonight. Look for him to get on base a few times. Look for him to play some solid defense in the field and overall just help produce a Hyannis victory.
Yeah, Mike, I think I'm going to get you on a technicality here. I bet Jackson West technically has the highest batting average on the team.
Fair.
Batting 800. Not sure if he can keep that up. I really hope you can, Jackson. Please do. But if we're looking at qualified batters, I believe Eric Snow is still there at the top. For my pick, I'm going to go with a guy who, quite frankly, I'm not confident is going to be in the lineup. It's a guy who made his debut last night. Not Jackson West. Other guy, Blake Cavill, out of Australia, Western Kentucky. A guy with power. I talked about it a few games ago when we brought in Mason White. This isn't a team built on power. So when you see those flashes, I saw Cavill hit a homer in BP yesterday. I was like, oh, that's good stuff. And then he wasted no time showing me, yeah, I can do that in game 2, buddy. Bang, left the yard in Brewster against the Whitecaps. Hopefully he gets to start today because he played solid first base defense as well, Mike. Hopefully he can get a few more hits, maybe get that average up too, and keep that power going, Mike. And if he does, I think he's going to be an instrumental player for this team's success throughout the rest of the summer.
I talked to him last night after the game, and he was saying that his experience in Australia really shaped him to have success in this environment. He's played a lot of games at fields similar to these high school or elementary school fields with not a lot of fans, but he was impressed with how many fans did show up last night in Brewster, and he really liked the environment. So he said, you know, it's shaped him for this moment. It's a grind, you know, in Australia, and it's a grind here. These guys are staying with host families and not used to, you know, where they are, and they're in different places than they've ever been. They're going to the beach during the day, playing baseball at night. It's all over the place, but this guy seems ready for it. He had a good start last night, and hopefully continue it again.
For sure. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. If you are worried about the rain, worried about the forecast, that's fine. Catch us on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network, either right here on YouTube or over on Huddle TV. Catch our wonderful broadcasts. They'll take care of you for the night. And if not, you know where we'll be, right here at McKeon Park, hopefully watching a Harbor Hawks victory.
Bring your raincoat, bring an umbrella. Maybe not an umbrella. Bring your raincoat, poncho if you need.
Yep. With that being said,
Go Hawks.